feels really sacred to be here now with you in the space that is created by relational presence. I loved it when somebody said earlier tonight that free to feel anything or everything. That's a real safe place. And I haven't experienced that very often in my life. A lot of judgment and a lot of blame, and especially around tears. I've been doing an exploration around tears for a while now, 3 or 4 months. It's been like my meditation. And it's amazing because it's almost like any word you put with tears. The gift of tears, the pain of tears, the joy of tears. They all kind of go together, you know. And when you eliminate tears, or when I eliminate tears, it almost takes my heart away from me and my soul. I think about being a baby, you know, before words. And tears were what I had to express myself when I was hungry or cold, lonely. And I had a special gift because I was the last child in a family of 3. And my mother told a story about, I was unplanned and that I cried a lot. And she said that because she'd already had 2 children, she realized that she didn't have to respond when I cried. So she would let me cry myself to sleep. And I thought that, what must that have been like for this little baby boy? And now, as I'm older, in my 60s, it's so amazing to me to watch that now I'm letting myself cry again. And not being dry. And feeling that space. Instead of crying myself to sleep, sometimes I feel like I'm crying myself awake now. There's a story that when Buddha, after sitting under the tree for a while, when he experienced a sense of enlightenment, he touched the ground. And I feel like now that there's a place inside of me that, and not enlightened, but when I touch my tears, and when I share my tears, there's an opportunity for me to feel that energy of it's all right to do or feel anything. I had lunch today with a friend of mine, a man who I've known for 15 or 20 years, and And we were talking about the work, this work. And he had done some grief work. We had a mutual friend that died this summer. And he said that he had done some grief work about, death and his relationship to tears. And he said he got to a point where he remembered when his parakeet died, when he was 6 or 7, and he refused to cry. He didn't want to be a little boy, and he didn't want to cry, and he was in church and learning about things, and he said, all right, if Jesus is actually alive and real, he'll bring my bird back to life. And that was his bargaining. And he learned this at this grief seminar, that you go through bargaining when people die and you're left alone and with grief. He said, he really decided that tears weren't a part of his life. And I think about this little boy that has a parakeet, and it dies, and he's already learned not to be in relationship with his tears. It's amazing when there's safety for tears.